If you're tired of trying to second guess to figure out if the girl that you have a crush on actually likes you back, then you just clicked on the perfect video. Because today, I'm gonna be telling you 5 signs that a girl is in fact interested in you. And I'm not here to waste your time, let's get right into it. Sign number 1 is this girl is gonna ask you what your type is. Randomly, you guys are gonna be in conversation and she's gonna start to ask you about your dating life. And she's gonna say,
you know what, Johnny, like, what is your type? Like, what kind of girls are you interested in anyway?
and obviously the reason she's asking you this question is because she's interested in you. But a lot of guys have absolutely zero social intelligence and this blows right over their head. So next time a girl asks you what your type is or who you're interested in, I want that to be an automatic light bulb that should go off in your head to say,
Man, this girl likes me and she wants to get to know me better because she's interested in me.
Now, here's a dark psychology trick that's probably not Christian at all. I like to use whenever a girl asks me what my type is. I will look at her, I will observe her. Is she blonde? Is she brunette? What's the color of her eyes? And depending on the way that she looks, I will tell her that I'm interested in the exact opposite body type, hair color, eye color that she is. And I'm not saying that this is biblical or correct. I don't actually mean any harm by it, but the reason it's funny is because if I look at a girl and she's blonde, and she's asking me what my type is, and I know that she's interested in me, I'm gonna look at her and say,
you know what, I really have a soft spot in my heart for brunettes.
and the reason that I'm doing this is because subconsciously, this girl is gonna feel a need to win over my approval. Because if she's blonde and I say I like brunettes, she's gonna think to herself,
Why doesn't he like blondes? Like, what's wrong with blondes? Why does he like brunettes? Oh my gosh.
and she's gonna be thinking about me all the time. And she's constantly gonna be trying to say,
I'm better, I gotta do more for him because if I do more for him, then I can win over his approval and his validation and then he might like me.
and it's gonna put me in a position where she's constantly trying to get me to like her more instead of it being how most guys are in the dating world where they're constantly having to bend over backwards to get the girl to like him. You're automatically putting yourself on a higher level where she's trying to make you like her instead of you trying to constantly get her to like you more and, give you the validation that you want. Because if you're doing anything other than what I just described, you're in the wrong, you're screwing up. You should only be going after women that are already interested in you, not the other way around. Sign number 2 is you're gonna catch her staring at you a lot. Oftentimes, women are not just gonna walk right up to you and say,
Hey Johnny, I think you're cute.
right? They're feminine, they're indirect. The last thing that they're gonna do is walk right up to you and tell you that they're attracted to you. And it's funny, this is kind of just the way that God made women, but it's almost like they want you to read their minds. And so as a masculine man of God or someone with somewhat sharpened social skills, you're gonna have to pick up on the subtle signs that they're attracted to you. And obviously, that they want you to approach them. And these signs are called choosing signals. For example, if a girl's attracted to you, instead of just beeline walking up to you and saying,
Hey Johnny, I think you're hot. Here's my phone number. Please take me out on a date.
instead of doing that, she's just gonna stare at you until they put her in a grave and she dies. Like, she would literally stare at you every single day for months and months and months and years and years and years and never say anything and just hope and pray that you're gonna walk up to her instead of walking up to you and risking the idea of possibly being rejected by you. Like, the last thing that a woman wants to happen is to get rejected. It would literally destroy her. So she's not gonna take the risk of getting rejected by you. Instead, she's just gonna stare at you and she's gonna hope that you walk up to her. And that's literally how women are. So what you need to do is you need to be aware of your surroundings. Regardless of where you are, just pick up on all the women that are around you. And I know a lot of guys do this anyway, but look around and see if there's any girls that are staring at you. What I want you to do is if you notice a girl is staring at you, stare back at her. Whenever you make eye contact with her, she's gonna look away. And instead of you looking away too, and you're like,
Oh, I'm lifting my weights again.
I want you to just keep staring at her, even though she looked away. And if she's interested in you, what I promise you she's going to do is she's gonna look back at you. And this is kind of funny because it's almost like without speaking or saying any words, you're both acknowledging that you caught her looking at you, and you can just smile. Smile, maybe wave at her, like make it playful, make it a joke. And after you have a little fun, playful, whatever, I want you to grab your balls and walk up to her and introduce yourself because that girl is interested in you and she's begging you to walk up and talk to her. And that's exactly what I want you to do. Sign number 3 is she's gonna place herself near you or in your general vicinity. And this happens all the time. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be at the gym, you could be at school, you could be at the library, you could be in the grocery store, you could be at church. If a woman is attracted to you, she's going to put her body, her physical body, near you in hopes that you're going to say,
Hey, what's your name? Or you're going to start a conversation.
and this is crucial. So many guys miss this. I want you to keep in mind, whenever you go to the gym, and maybe there's a girl you're attracted to, a girl that you have a crush on, see where she places herself in your environment. Does she consistently end up right next to you? Like, for example, could you be lifting weights, maybe you're doing a bench press, and then all of a sudden, that girl that you're interested in just appears right next to you at the bench, right by you. She doesn't look at you, she doesn't say anything, but she's very close to you. Maybe you get up and you go and do something else. Maybe you're doing like pull-ups or something, and you go far away from her, and then 10 minutes later, you look up and she's by you again. She's like, maybe she's just pretending to do the same workout that you're doing in hopes that you're gonna talk to her. I want you to realize that's exactly what she's doing. She's not hitting chest and arms just like you, dummy. She wants you to talk to her. So once again, if that's happening to you, grab your sack and say hello, because I promise you, she's begging you to talk to her. Sign number 4, she wants to know more about you. One thing that a lot of guys don't realize is if a girl's not interested in you and you start a conversation with her, she is not gonna do any heavy lifting or any legwork to keep that conversation going. But if a girl is interested in you, she's gonna ask you a lot of questions. Most importantly, she's not gonna let the conversation die out. She's gonna do a lot of work to keep the conversation going. She's gonna ask you, like I said, a ton of questions. And the reason that she's doing this is because she wants to know if you're a good fit for dating or potentially getting married. If she's a good girl, if she's the kind of woman that you should be going after, who's godly, who's feminine, who could be a good mother one day, she's gonna be vetting you. She's gonna be trying to figure out if you're husband material in the same way that you need to be figuring out if she's wifey material. Women do not wanna know more about a guy that they're not interested in. So if she's asking you a lot of questions and she's keeping the conversation going and she's super engaged and she's holding good eye contact with you throughout the entire conversation, then that is a great sign that she likes you, and you need to grab your ball sack and ask her out. Now, the 5th and final sign that I bet you've never heard before is whenever she follows you on social media right after you meet her. And this is key. This has happened to me so many times where I meet a girl at church or I meet a girl at the gym or whatever. We have a good conversation. The conversation flows well. We're asking each other questions. I can tell that she likes me somewhat. I'm interested in her if I'm having a deep conversation with her. Oftentimes, I'm not the kind of guy who's immediately gonna ask,
What's your phone number? What's your Instagram?
I don't ever do that. Like, I'm just planting seeds. I'm just trying to see, is there good chemistry here? And then, if it goes well and I continue to see her, then if I can tell the feelings are mutual, then I'll ask for a phone number. But I normally don't do that immediately after meeting someone. So I'll, go away, off to my own world, my own business. And whenever a girl is interested in me, 9 times or 10 times out of 10, I'll get a notification on my phone if she has social media and it'll say, Sally followed you on Instagram. And every single time that's happened, the girl was interested in me. And once again, it goes back to the fact that women are not direct. She's not gonna ask me for my number whenever we first meet. Instead, she's gonna keep it a little bit more indirect. She's just gonna follow me on Instagram because at least she doesn't really face rejection. Obviously, I could not follow her back, which would probably crush her. She's gonna keep it indirect. She's not gonna ask for your phone number. She's not gonna tell you that she's super attracted to you whenever she first meets you. Instead, she's just gonna follow you on social media. And if you see that notification, the first thing you should do, accept her follow request, follow her back if you think she's hot and you're interested in dating her, and send her a message and say, hey, it was great meeting you. Had a good time about whatever, insert whatever you guys talked about. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. And keep it at that. Like I said, she's going to be interested. She's gonna keep the conversation going. And next time you see her in real life, you can ask her out on a date and just keep the texting to a minimal level, obviously. The phone is for setting appointments. It's not for getting to know every little detail about the person unless you do a phone call. Keep all that for the in-person interactions. Please, do yourself a favor. If you want to learn more about how to improve your dating life as a godly Christian man, I want you to go ahead and click on this video. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that God blesses you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.